All right, so here we have Bitcoin on Bybit on the 1 hour. As you see, we are being held down by the 21 right now. We're having some trouble getting above it. We were talking about getting a bounce up to the 50, but kind of got front ran a little bit and fell back down below the 21. Right now, it does look like we did get a shot of bullish divergence, but I think that move's already played out. We had it from this this low right here. Actually, this low to this low. Bullish divergence. Your MACD, fresh cross to the upside. Positive momentum is increasing a little bit. You have pretty good strong upside curvature, but it wouldn't take much to turn that back around. Now your BBWP has crossed below its moving average, so your volatility has been contracting as the price action has went up, which means it's probably a corrective move. Um, let's So yeah, let's go to the stochastic real quick, and then we'll come back to it. So your Stoke on your Bollinger Bands, you did close below your bottom band. Now, surprisingly, it went right back up. Usually, when you close below your band, you'll have a few candles and keep going down, but you did get a bounce at basically 19.5. All right, so right now your stochastic is turned back around to the upside. We're either going to get a test or a resumption or a cross, or we just head down from here, because I mean we got a pretty fresh cross to the downside right now, but as you see, you had a fake out there before. Right here is when it happened, and basically we're just ranging right now once again. We had a mini range here, about a $500 range in Bitcoin. Now it looks like we could have another range, but this is not a confirmed low yet. This is not a confirmed low. This is a low. This is not a confirmed low. This right here is not a low, in my opinion, because you don't go below the wick on this last candle. So it's not a clear-cut reversal. So yeah, as I said, your BBWP cross below its moving average, contracting right now. Let's go to the 4 hour. So here on your 4 hour stochastic, your Bollinger Bands, see how when it closes below your bottom band, how it continues to go down, has a higher probability of doing that. So now we consolidated for quite a while there, for about a day, and then just kind of rolled over. Now we're seeing what happens next. We could get a bounce up to 2200 to the 20 MA, which is this middle line on the Bollinger Band. It's your 20 MA, but now your stochastic on your 4 hours coming back down. So if you get across here, I would expect us to come down to the 19,300 pretty quick in this bottom band, possibly even lower, probably to 19K. We're going to talk about that. Let's go to the 4 hour on the trend chart. So your RSI deep in the bearish control zone right now. You are above your signal line, MACD, either testing or getting across to the upside. Honestly, I think it's just a retest. In my opinion, it's just a retest. Your volatility is very low. Your BBWP is continuing to consolidate. So, I mean, we could range here, from 19.5 to 19.9. We could range here a little bit, just chop around a little bit, hit people's stop losses, and then crack down to our purple zone at 19K. That's where I think we're going, is 19K. Let's move on to the 8 hour. So on your 8 hour, you are also deep into the bearish control zone. You are trying to get above your signal line. So, I mean, your short-term time frames are trying to reverse. They're trying to reverse. Same thing, and I would expect your medium-term time frames to probably be horrible, but we're going to check them out. So your shorter-term time frames are trying to reverse, but it looks like they're not doing it. If we were going to have a reversal, I would think we would have already had one. So to cross the AMA to the upside, you need to get above 19,795. So basically a couple dollars from where we're at. We're right on the line right here, between the signal line, between crossing the signal line to the upside or getting a retest and resumption down. Sorry, I'm jumbling my words. I had about 2 hours of sleep last night, and yeah, here we are. So on your MACD, pretty fresh cross to the downside. It'll continue rising above as long as we stay above 19.4 19,747. To cross above that signal line, you need to get back above 25.69. So basically that is right where this 21 is. So if you can get back above that signal line on the 8 hour, I would expect you to, I would expect you to retest that signal line and have a resumption down, because I really don't think you're going to get past the 21 at 2682 region, and between there and 2750, which is the bottom of this previous range. Let's go ahead and extend that out just in case we do get a retest up to there. But I think that's your best case scenario. I think the 2600, 2700 region is the best case scenario for a bounce. Once again, your volatility is starting to contract. Your BBWP is heading down, still in the upper zone, so it could pick up pretty quickly. But you know, if we do, we could just work our way down slowly, or we could crack down quickly and raise this BBWP up a little bit. Let's go to the 8 hour on this range chart. So stochastic is in a very extreme level. As you see, you can stay down here for a while. All right, so you entered it right here. So if you would have made a play, a long play, because you entered the extreme zone, you'd have got wrecked. That's a rookie mistake. Same thing here. Look how long you stayed in the extreme zone. A rookie mistake is to buy and sell as soon as you enter that zone. It can stay in there for a while. In a previous bull market, the last 3 months of the bull market was all in the overbought zone. The last 3 months was in the overbought zone on the, I think it was the daily, either the daily or the weekly. So yeah, don't do that. Not financial advice, but rookie mistake. So we didn't quite get a close below the bottom band, so we were able to get a bounce off of it. Now, if we get a close below it, I mean, once again, 19K is in confluence with a bunch of levels. You got your POC point of control and your VPVR coming in here at a high volume spot at 21,435. Really don't think we get to there. I think the best case scenario is that 2750 level, which is also where your middle band comes in, because it's the 20 SMA. And I have the 21 EMA on the trend chart. Let's go to the daily. On your daily, you're also in extreme levels, and it has crossed to the upside. So, but it wouldn't take much to turn that back around and stay in that extreme zone. That's why what I think we stay in the extreme zone until we get to 19K. I think we get to 19K, we chop around, and then we bounce. That's what I think is going to happen. Let's go to the daily on the trend chart and get some more clarity. So yeah, I mean, our purple zone ain't too far away. It's at the 19K level. We are deep in the bearish control zone right now, so the bears are in control. Far below your signal line, you need to get back above 23.19 in order to get above that signal line. If that can happen, though, I think you would get up to the 2700 region if you can get above that signal line on the daily. MACD, pretty fresh cross of the new signal line and the zero line. Negative momentum is stable right now, so we'll find out whether it can break this last low on the histogram or not. If that does happen, this thing's going to pick up speed. But honestly, I think the histogram stays stable until we get to 19K, and then I think it starts to wane. So on your daily, your BBWP is even contracting as your price action just basically, you know, corrected a little bit, came back down. Not quite as volatile as this move. You know, you're just basically stair-stepping down, which is what I think happens again. I think you probably get a bounce. Maybe a little bit from here. Let's go back down to the 1 hour and then talk about a bounce, because I don't know about that. So yeah, your BBWP is about to cross its moving average. So like I was saying, I think you could stair-step this down. You know, possibly have move maybe up to the 50 at about 20K. Then get rejected from there. It's either you're going to get up there to the 50 at 20K, then come back down, then come down to 19K, or you're going to get rejected from right where we're at right now, and that was the current high. And then come down to 19K. So those are my thoughts for Bitcoin. So basically the shorter term time frames are kind of neutral right now. Either you're going to break this last low at 19.7, we'll say 19.700, or the 19.920. If you can break the 19.920, I think you get a range measured move up to the 50. And if not, I think you get the range measured move basically down to 19.615 and then on to make a new low and go into 19K. I do think 19K you get a huge bounce. So I will be putting a trade there. So not financial advice. You do what you want. I'm not your daddy. But I'll be putting a trade there with not a very tight stop loss either, because we could crack down on a wick, scare the shit out of everybody, you know, all the way down to 18K even, or 18.5, and then, you know, coming back up. But that's just my opinion. So don't just follow my trade, because something could change. If something changes, I'll get out of my trade quickly. Like if the momentum changes drastically. So if you don't know what you're doing, I don't know if I would necessarily copy my trades, because things can pivot very quickly, especially with massive volatility, which I do think once we get to 19K, there will be massive volatility, either to the upside or the downside. My guess is that we'll have a bounce there and then continue to the downside. That is my longer term outlook on it. I think we go to 19K and have a bounce and then continue to the downside. Let's move on to Ethereum. By the way, if you guys are liking this video so far, like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the links in the description below, one being the Discord. A lot of good conversation about trading, investing, and crypto in there. We stay ahead of the curve. Just like in these videos, we have a very high hit rate collectively. Well, in the Discord, we have a very high hit rate collectively. You know, I have a very high hit rate on these videos. And so we stay ahead of the curve. We stay ahead of our trades. So definitely join the Discord. On the RSI, on Ethereum, you are testing the signal line right now. Trying to have a resumption up, trying to work your way out of the bearish control zone. If you can get out of the bearish control zone, I think you break the 21 at 1460 and work your way up to the 50. Basically where this VPVR level is too. Now, the 50 is where, you know, you could potentially have that reversal, make a lower high, continue down, making a lower low than 1425. Your MACD trying to get a fresh cross to the upside of its signal line, starting to print some little green bars on the histogram, but we'll find out, because as you see, your BBWP just crossed its moving average. So the BBWP started going down as the price action started to go up, which makes me think it's a corrective move. Now that doesn't mean that the corrective move is over. Like I said, we can still come up to the 50 at about 1485. But if we can break that, I think we come up to this purple zone of 1560. But honestly, I think that's the best case scenario. Your 100 did cross your 200 on the 1 hour, which means in a higher term time frames, that's going to be, you know, your 50 and your 100. You know what I mean? On their higher term time frame, which, you know, isn't going to look good. I mean, longer, medium term time frames now are not going to look very good, because now all your moving averages are fanned out as well. They all have downside slopes, and they're all below each other. You know, your 21, your 50, your 100, and your 200 are all below each other from smallest to biggest. So let's move on to the 4 hour. No, first let's go to the Stokes. I'm going to try to continue. I'm going to try to include the stochastic and the Bollinger Bands as we go as well now. This is basically my range chart. I have a trend chart, a range chart, and then a macro chart. You know, this is my macro chart. But, you know, and then when we have long-term analysis, we'll definitely be going over this chart as well. I mean, we can hit it real quick. If you see, every time that Bitcoin consolidated into this level, we always got to at least this line where I'm at right now. And you kind of have this trend line going a little bit, but that doesn't mean that we can't go below it. So what that means is more of the bear market is over than it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, more of it is over. I think we could be 3/4 over with the bear market. Now, I mean, you had your MACD cross way up here at about, 48K. So, I mean, that led you all the way down there. You're still in capitulation mode on the monthly on your hash ribbons indicator. So we'll get more into a long-term analysis video soon. Especially if we break 19K, we are going to do a long-term analysis video. But for right now, let's stick to the short term. I know that's what everybody's after. So your stochastic on the 1 hour looks like it's trying to cross your signal line to the upside. See, more stuff is coming into play. More stuff is in confluence that we are going to get some sort of little bounce here. But we'll find out. We need to get some follow through from where we're at right now. So at the 1460 level, which we've talked about before, is where your 20 MA comes in, your middle band. And see, once again, we did get that close below that bottom band, but we popped right back up, faked everybody out. I guarantee you people had their stop losses below that bottom band. Hit people's stops, came back up, barely, you know what I mean? And now we're consolidating sideways once again from 1440 to 1460. So let's go to the 4 hour. So on your 4 hour, you are curling over. But if this gets a retest and resumption up, you still could have that bounce up to the 1500 level. Your BBWP, very low. Looks like it's going to like retest its moving average, come back down. I mean, you're consolidating. Like I said, I think we probably stair step it down after maybe a short-term move to the upside. Let's go to your 4 hour here. See, you know what? My BBWP is jacked up on this, so I'm taking it off. Yeah, I don't understand why it's different. I must have different settings on it. So your BBWP is far below its moving average. Starting to bounce off the bottom though. So if this thing turns around and continues to expand, that's when I think the move starts to happen. Now 1512 comes in at this 21 EMA right up here, which is in confluence with that middle band. Let's move this zone out. Basically your MACD trying to curl around as well, so you could get a fake out cross right here and get above 1476, and that would be when you would cross your signal line. 1476 is going to take you to basically the bottom, basically the middle of this range. And that would be a common spot to get rejected from. Yeah, so I mean, we might not even make it up to the 21 or just get a wick up to it and crack back down. Honestly, that could be possible. Get a wick up to the 21, come back down, close below the 1480 level, and then continue down to our 1350 level that we've been talking about. We've been talking about 1350 since like 2K, or 2K. We said if it fell back below 1900 that we were going to 1350. RSI crossing, but it looks like we're going to chop around a little bit. If we cross back to the downside of this signal line on a closure, I think we come back into the oversold region. So definitely watch that. We do have bullish divergence, so that could go with that bounce again, because we have bullish divergence on both the RSI and the MACD. It's starting to look like we could have a bounce in multiple crypto assets. So we'll stay tuned. We'll stay nimble, because it's either we bounce up to the 21 at about 1500, or we come down to 1350. How you're going to know is if you break 1425 on a 1 hour closure, 1420 on a 1 hour closure, or you break this last high and the bottom of this range at 1470 on a 1 hour closure. Then my guess is that you would come up to the 1500, 1510 level, or the 1350 to 1330. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Let's go to the daily. Here on the daily, lower highs, lower lows, entered the bearish control zone, far below your signal line, and your signal line is right at the top of the bearish control zone. That is going to be major resistance at 1550, which is kind of in confluence because remember we were talking about we don't think we go above 1500. So you would need to get above 1550 in order to become bullish again. If you got above 1550, I think you would go up to 1650 very quickly. I don't think that's going to happen because your MACD just crossed the zero line to the downside and your negative momentum is starting to increase. It's stable right now, but it's pretty high up there as BBWP starting to lose some of its volatility. But we'll see. Either you bounce off this moving average, continue up. Well, not bounce off, but either you fall below your moving average and start to consolidate more in a range, or you head up and continue the volatility. See, now if we got this bounce, that wouldn't be very volatile because it's not a big move. So we could cross the moving average and then pop right back above it and then continue the downside move. Let's go to the daily on the stochastic and Bollinger Bands. So testing the bottom band. Let's see, 1500 falls right at the top of this candle. Yeah, and then if we made another red candle after that, you would have a tweezer top formation, which would head you down, probably get you to close below the bottom band. Stochastic is trying to cross to the upside. But like I said, this thing can stay in extremes for a long time. So I wouldn't trust that just yet. I mean, you could come up to the bottom. Look at this. You came up and went right back down. That can happen again. We could come up to the bottom of the bearish control zone and get rejected from it and stay in oversold until we get to 19K, then get our bounce. See what I mean? It's everything is going in confluence with 19K and then having a bounce. That's what I think is going to happen. Let's go to, oh yeah, that's it for Ethereum. I mean, those are my thoughts for Ethereum. Let's, we're going to move on to Solana now. So here on Solana, as soon as we broke through this purple zone, we came directly down to our next purple zone like we were talking about. We have stayed on the pulse of Solana like a doctor for 6 months. Really, if you've been watching these videos, you know that. So you are in the bearish control zone, testing the signal line, working your way back up to the top of the bearish control zone as your MACD is trying to get across. So we'll find out whether we can get across of the MACD line and out of the bearish control zone at the same time, or we just gets a retest and a rejection from the bearish control zone and a retest and a rejection from the signal line on the MACD. That's going to mean that we either break the 21, because if we can get out of there, I think we would probably break the 21 at 30.87, probably come up to the bottom of the 50 EMA at 31.50. That's where I think we would get rejected from. BBWP is coming down as the price action's moving sideways, crossing its moving average, heading into the lower zone. So your volatility is contracting. Excuse me. So yeah, like I said, best case scenario I think is that we come up to 31.50 at the 50 EMA, and that's where I think we would get rejected. Now, if we break this last low at basically $30, which would also imply that we head back down below this signal line, and your MACD gets a retest and rejection from its signal line as your BBWP works its way back above its moving average. After you break the $30 mark, next stop, 20 bucks, $20 next stop. But if Bitcoin would go to 19K, this is where I think we would end up. I think we would go to 25, possibly even 26. I think Solana would fall a lot more, but we'll find out. I mean, we got some even numbers coming down. Basically, every dollar is going to be a nice bounce area, but let's put on a fib because I want to show you. Hold on here. Let's see. I want to put on a fib from this last swing high because it's going to be a swing high on a higher term time frame. So you got 29.30 coming at your 2.618 in between. So yeah, 26.50 is what I would be looking at. 26.50, where your 3.618 is. In between there and $27. That's the level I'm looking at that we would probably go down to if we crossed the, if we come down to 19K on Bitcoin. So it would fall a little bit lower. I mean, or we could come down to $29 at the 2.618. So I would at least expect a major bounce there. Honestly, we could probably work our way down to there and get the bounce. There's going to be ebbs and flows on your way down. Now, if we break 19K on Bitcoin, that's when the whole $26, $25 comes into play. Even 23, but we'll come back to it. That's far and few in between. We don't really have a lot of, we got our 28 down here, previous support, and then we got, 26 and 27 is going to be major support. So we'll find out. We stay updated on Solana every single day, and so we'll be back to it. Now, if you can break this last high at $32, which I don't think is going to happen, I think you come all the way up to the 200 at 34. But like I said, I don't think that's going to happen, but that is the most bullish scenario I can think of. So let's go to the 4-hour. All your major moving averages have negative slopes. Your 100 did cross your 200 to the downside. So now all your major moving averages are below each other. Once you fell out of this purple zone, looks like you came back up for a retest. Solana necessarily doesn't look as good as the others. Not even for a bounce. You are below your signal line in the oversold region. So very strong downside momentum. As your MACD is trying to get above its signal line, but it got rejected, it's trying again. We'll find out as your BBWP turned around. BBWP turned around as your price action started heading down again. So as you see, it contracted as you went sideways and a little up. But now that it bottomed out right at the top here, started to work its way back up. Solana might just get a bounce to $31 and then head back down. That's kind of what it's looking like right now. If it even gets a bounce up there, that could have been the bounce and the retest of the $31 mark. So we'll find out. If we break this last low at $30 on a 1-hour closure, yeah, I mean, we got to start making some more purple zones. Actually, I'll make them when I'm not on film. So yeah, I'll make these purple zones and we'll continue to stay on the pulse of Solana. So let's go to the daily. Or hold on, did we check? No, we did not. Let's go to the 4-hour trend range chart. Stochastic's curling back around. We're either going to get a retest and make it up to that $31 mark, which, hold on, we're on Ethereum. Sorry. All right, so we're still curling over. We're either going to get a retest and get up to the $31 mark, which is basically the bottom of that previous range. Yep, bottom of the previous range. Or we're going to get a retest and get up to, the $32 mark. So that's basically what I'm looking at right there. Your Bollinger Bands are starting to tighten up. I mean, as you see, your volatility is starting to contract. Being held down by the 21 right now, EMA. So, I mean, you front ran your 20 SMA. So, Solana doesn't look too good. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, once again, Solana doesn't look very good. Look how long we've been in the oversold region. Almost this entire move. See what I'm talking about? Bounced off your bottom band, but you didn't get a good bounce. And now you're below all these VPVR levels. You're going to have major resistance every step of the way. Now, you are crossing the signal line. So, I mean, what? You could have a bounce to, like I said, $31. You could have a bounce to $31. Maybe on this next candle, on this next daily candle. Within the next day or two, I think the volatility expands and the moves start to happen. So definitely pay attention and stay nimble. Those are my thoughts for Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. If you guys like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on those bell notifications so you get notified with this time-sensitive content. Sometimes these videos don't come out quick enough. The moves happen while I'm editing them. I mean, and so watch the videos. Watch the videos. Stay ahead of the curve. And yeah, everyone have a great morning, great afternoon, great evening. And I will see you tomorrow.